Thank you for joining us. We're going to talk about basic legal research. You guys, by living in DuPage County and using our services, have some great legal research services available to you. We have Remy with us from the DuPage County Law Library. Remy is on Zoom. They will be talking about the DuPage County Law Library resources, as well as some other resources in the community. And then Chris here is our business librarian for the Aurora Public Library District. He's going to talk about some of the resources that you have access to as an Aurora Public Library District cardholder. So, Remy, would you like to go ahead and get started?
Yeah. Okay, and you're sharing the screen. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, the DuPage County Law Library, we're located within the DuPage County Courthouse, which is up on the second floor. It's right on County Farm in Wheaton. And we provide legal assistance to attorneys. We provide legal assistance to pro se litigants as well, which is, people who are representing themselves in a legal situation. They don't have attorneys. We ourselves are not attorneys, so we can't give any legal advice. We provide legal assistance. So, it's a very thin line that we have to be very careful not to cross, but we try to get as close to that line as we can. The goal is always to have people leaving with as few questions as possible. So say you're coming in, you say, I really want to, I want to sue my neighbor. My neighbor, did something. I'm very upset about it. I want to sue them. What do I do? I can provide you with the forms. I can provide you with an explanation of like how to fill them out, resources and things. If you're confused about what to put in like a certain spot, what to write in, I can help clarify to say, this is what they're looking for. They want you to explain X, Y, Z, but I can't tell you here's word for word what you should put down. If that helps clarify a little bit. So it's a very thin line, but we do try to get as close to that line as we can, because legal processes are confusing. Nobody really prepares you for them at any point in your life. You just kind of, figure it out when you get there. If you ever get, hopefully you don't, but if you ever end up in a legal situation, you're not really prepared for it. So we want to give you as much as we can. So beyond ourselves, if you want to go to the next slide for me, please.
Yeah.
So beyond ourselves, we have various resources available for legal information and research within the library. This, of course, includes books, and we have all different types for all different needs. We have statutes dating back to, over 100 years ago. We have, different form books. We have, stuff that deals with case law, things that aren't written into the actual physical, state statute, US code, anything like that. All different things that somebody might be looking for, we have in, books. We have our ICLs, which are Illinois Institute for Continuing Legal Education. Those look like this, and they have, these really dive into both. Oh, let me
make your picture bigger.
Okay. These are more geared towards attorneys, but we do, if there's something specific that you're looking for, these cover a lot of ground. And, even if you're not an attorney, you can really kind of parse through the specific sections that you need. We try to give as much guidance as we can. But that deals with statute, case law, and it has forms, things like that, because there are, when you have a legal situation, like, the law is a very broad sphere. There are not standardized forms for every aspect of it. So, if you were to go to, say, like the Illinois Supreme Court website, they have standardized forms for things like divorce, small claims, vehicle forfeiture, eviction, things like that. Those are things that people deal with, on a regular day-to-day basis. Those are things that there are always cases being filed for those situations. But for something like super, super specific, where it's, I had this kind of contract with, that this aspect of it was broken and I need to do, this is the action that I want to take about it. Very specific situation. There's not a standardized form for it. So ICLs and some of our other texts have forms that might cover more of that ground.
Can you hold that up one more time? I made your picture bigger so they could see what you were holding up.
Yes. So this is, flat
Okay.
cover, ickle in the big letters. And, this is just one, but there's a whole broad series. And again, this covers, all different aspects of the law and all different situations, case law, state statutes, and how those things go together, how, different precedents have been set. And these are updated every few years. So, because the law is always changing, there's always, new case law, new statutes, new bills, everything like that. So those are updated, every, I'd say 3 to 4 years, we get a new edition for most of our books. And then we also have a familiar series that I think is generally on a lot of public library shelves is the NOLO series. This also covers all different aspects of the law. It gives you, they're less geared towards attorneys. It's more for, average pro se litigant, lays things out in very clean and simple terms and covers a lot of different aspects that you, again, might not have covered elsewhere as like the standard. So that's some of the stuff that we have in terms of our physical media within the library. I'm going to share my screen really quickly, if that's okay.
Yeah, you should have the ability to do that.
Let me see. I'm going to share a couple of our web resources that we have here. Is it showing my Westlaw screen? Okay.
Yes, see Westlaw.
The one thing I want to cover is that your state statutes are also available on the Illinois General Assembly website. So if you're like, what does the law say about this? Like, what is, the statute of limitations for XYZ? You can always Google it. It'll, something that I'm always surprised by is, my first go-to whenever somebody asks a question is I'm going to type it into the Google search bar. It always surprises me that that's not always the go-to. Definitely, if you have a question about something, Google it, see what comes up. But if you're looking for like the statute of limitations or you're looking for, anything specific like that, anything that might be within the state statutes, they're all available on the Illinois General Assembly, General Assembly, excuse me, all broken down by section. Very easy to, parse through for exactly what you might be looking for. You can break, the broader statutes, you can break down really, really closely. But that's a really good resource that I think not a lot of people really know about, is that is available. Your local town ordinances, so like, your Aurora City Code, Wheaton City Code ordinances, things like that, those are also generally available online. So if there's something not in the state statutes, it might be within your city code for like, is my landlord allowed to do this? Do they have to give me, how much notice they have to give me before, they can come into my unit? Stuff like that isn't always covered by state statute. Sometimes that's local. So that's, there are a handful of different things to look through to find certain information, but that's, those are a couple other things that are available for you. Westlaw is our database that we subscribe to within the library. This unfortunate, with Aurora Public Library, with most of your public library databases, I think a lot of them you can log into remotely with your library card. You don't have to come all the way into the library. For this one, we only have access within the library itself. So if you wanted to look something up on Westlaw, you would have to visit our library. But it's most of our books, the text is available through Westlaw, a lot of the forms. So like if I wanted to look up guardianship, if I wanted a specific situation I could look up, I could see cases, and you can get real specific with it for, guardianship of a minor, of, of a distant relative, something like that. If you're looking for something really specific, there might be a case that already has that as an example of like, how did this go for these other people who've had these similar cases? It's really helpful to be able to reference to see like if there's been precedent that has been set. Forms are also available. So again, for those really specific things that there's not a standardized form for, this is a really great resource for that. And again, this is also something that we have access to ourselves. If you were to come into the library or, call or email, like, I need this thing, we would also be able to send you things right off of here most of the time. But that's, Westlaw is a really great, very specific legal resource for looking into very specific detailed things. I won't get super into it, but it is really helpful for looking into case law, forms, things that, you might not know the precedents yourself, and being able to look that up is a very big aid. And I mentioned the Illinois Supreme Court. Their website is also a really great resource. They have specifically, these are all the standardized statewide forms that they have for circuit court level. So like name change, divorce, mortgage foreclosure, eviction, all those have standardized forms. They've made these extremely easy for people to follow along with. This is something that we're also working on for our county specific forms. But these forms are also, if any of these are, ever something that you're looking to do, these are all forms that have to be accepted at any courthouse within the state of Illinois. They're standardized statewide. So even if your county has their own specific form, they also have to accept these. I can't pull it up on here, but they're very easy to follow along. They designed it for people who are filing without attorneys. So it's a really wonderful resource, if you're looking for something on there. If you're looking to do something within the court system, start here. Is always my recommendation to see the forms. A lot of the standard ones are there. They also have the Supreme Court rules, things like that, different opinions that have been published. Not every single one that's ever, in any court, but the major Supreme Court opinions are also available. Supreme Court rules, things like that, all available on that website. Very helpful for if you're looking for something very specific. Last one is Illinois Legal Aid Online. This one is my favorite. We use this probably on a daily basis. This covers all types of legal situations, all sorts of different things that you might be going through. And it is very easy to digest. It's very simple terms. So like say you're going through a divorce, I want to, let's see. So I'm going through a divorce, or I've gone through a divorce. I want to change my child support payments. Something's happened. I want to change my child support. So there's pages for modifying your child support. There's a full guide. They have forms for a lot of things as well. So a lot of things are again, we use this all the time. It's one of our favorite resources to use because it is very simple. It's very clearly laid out. Even for the things that, we get asked all the time that I should know the answer, I'm still referring back to this because it's very clean cut. It's very clear to understand. And we use a lot of the forms on here as well for certain things that there aren't standardized forms for. But it's a very, very helpful resource. And again, it covers a wide variety of legal situations that you might not find. Even like citizenship and immigration, that's one that I'm almost always coming here for. When we get the far and few between, but when we get those questions, those aren't something that I'm dealing with often. But this has it covered, and it's very easy for me to understand, much more so than something like ICL, where it's designed for attorneys, and the legalese is very complicated. So I think those are all the web resources that we really use on a day-to-day basis. But Illinois Legal Aid, that's also available from wherever. Unlike, Westlaw, you have to be in our library or a library that subscribes to it. Illinois Legal Aid, though, you're able to access that from anywhere, and it covers a lot of ground, and it's very clear and easy to understand. So those are our web sources with that. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. I can pull mine up here. Okay, so then, whoops, excuse me. So I think I've covered everything with that, with our specific resources. Again, we have our books, web resources. We have our self-help center as well. That's still sort of in progress. We've been redoing it over the course of the last year, but there's computer access. We have a lot of our NOLO series there as well. It's a good place, you know, it's our self-help center so that if you wanted a space to work on things, still be able to ask us questions. We have our center for that. So you can use our legal resources, you know, Westlaw, our forms, everything like that. Able to plug away and then just immediately print, send it down to the clerk's office, file it, get everything in motion. That's our workspace, basically. I want to talk about some other things that are also available in the courthouse. Our attorney help desk is starting up again on June 17th, where attorneys from the DuPage County Bar Association will be going on a volunteer basis. It's room 2017 in the courthouse from 10 to 1 p.m. Monday and Wednesday to deal specifically with family law. Thursday is just general legal assistance, but it is with attorneys. So they are able to answer actual legal questions, give legal advice in the way that we're not able to as librarians. It's free consultations for up to 20 minutes. They can assist with filling out forms, answer various questions. You don't need to make an appointment. It's currently, as we're starting back out again, it's going to be on a first come, first served basis. And it is, we tell people before you come, make sure you write down the things that you want to ask, because those 20 minutes will go by quickly. So if you have a list down of, you know, this is what I want to make sure that I ask, this is what I want to make sure that we cover, it helps from getting, you know, way off point, or, you know, those 20 minutes go by, you leave, and it's like, I didn't ask the big thing that I wanted to ask. This was like the whole thing that I wanted to make sure that I had squared away before anything else. So write things down, but you're able to ask actual legal questions, get legal advice from volunteer attorneys. And courtroom 2009 on Tuesday mornings, there's a guardianship help desk. These are scheduled as appointments, and the appointments come after you filed your initial petition and forms for guardianship. You're again able to receive, so if you're filing something for guardianship, you're able to receive more detailed information and legal advice for your guardianship case. It's really helpful. You know, it's something that I think if you're filing a guardianship case, you're going to be sent to this help desk. I think they're hoping to open it up to before you even file your guardianship, before you even file those initial petitions. I think that's something they're looking to do in the future. But it is something that is available then to help with these, you know, again, legal processes are kind of confusing. So having some guidance for that from, you know, legal professionals is often very helpful. On our third floor of our courthouse, we have Family Shelter Services, which is part of the Metropolitan Family Services Organization. And this specializes in situations of domestic violence, and they're able to assist with stalking no contact orders, orders of protection, things of that nature. That's specifically, like, that's their whole sphere, what they do in that office. So if that's a situation that you or somebody that you know needs assistance with, they're available. They also have a 24-hour hotline with the number right there. Really, really helpful resource for that sort of situation. Also on our third floor is our ADR center. It's our Alternative Dispute Resolution Center. This offers assistance with eviction cases, arbitration, and mediation. So for certain cases, you might get sent to, before you get sent to the judge, you might be sent to meet with the other party in the case and a neutral third party who tries to work things out, you know, come to an agreement, see if you can work things out outside of court. And if you can't, then you'll go in front of the judge, but it's something that, you know, if you can avoid having to go to, you know, the actual whole trial process, that's the purpose of mediation and arbitration, is to avoid that whole trial process if you're able to work things out neutrally. A few other legal assistance resources that are available throughout DuPage County. There are a couple of need-based organizations, which are DuPage Legal Aid and Prairie State Legal Services. They provide pro bono legal aid to those in need. You want to call as early as you know that you need assistance, as you likely need to schedule and complete a telephone screening to see if you qualify, see if you qualify for their services. But again, it's pro bono legal aid. It's attorneys that are here to help represent you through your case. So they're very helpful resources to have at your disposal. DuPage Legal Aid is primarily with family law, but they do offer assistance in other areas of law as well. The DuPage County Bar Association provides a lawyer referral service. So if you're in a situation you do actually want to hire an attorney, you can give them a call, explain your situation, and they'll refer you to the lawyer they think is best suited to take on your case. Not all attorneys take on all types of cases. A lot of them specialize in one specific area. So it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it for, okay, I don't know how to figure out who knows this situation best. They have all the DuPage County Bar Association attorneys. They know what they're familiar with. They'll be able to get you the person that they think is best suited for your case. Illinois Court Help does not give legal advice, but they do offer assistance in navigating court systems and legal processes. They can also help to connect you to other local legal aid that I might not have covered, that might not be easy to find otherwise, but they can point you to local legal aid services and other community resources that you might not know are available to you. But another really helpful resource, especially with navigating the court processes, court systems and everything like that, because it is complicated, it's complex, and if you're not super familiar with it, it's a lot to dive into at once. So that's most of what I have. I know that it's a lot, but we do try to provide, excuse me, we do try to provide, as much of the legal resources as we can. We're constantly working to be able to provide additional services for, additional services and additional, making these processes as simple as we can for people coming into the courthouse, because we know it's intimidating to go into it. You don't know everything. So we do try to provide as much information as we can, as much ease of all of that as we possibly can. So that is what I have.
Awesome, thank you.
Mhm.
Before we move on, does anyone have any questions specifically for Remy?
Where is the physical location?
So the physical location of the courthouse, it's 505 North County Farm Road in Wheaton. It's on the main county complex. Our law library is up on the second floor of that 505 courthouse.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else in the room or online have any questions specifically for Remy? We can always circle back to, if people think of, specific things later, we can address that. All right, sir, did you want to talk about the Aurora Public Library District?
Let's go.
All right.
Okay, awesome. Hi, everybody. I already know you too, but I'm Chris. I'm the Business and Career Services Librarian.
Did you want me to pass them?
But you know what? I actually can. If you want to. Go ahead. It's just three, so yeah, thank you. So I'm going to show you some resources that we have online. Specifically, I'm going to talk about a database that we have called the Gale Legal Reference, which is similar to some of the other resources that Remy was showing us for doing legal research specifically. So there's like things like legal definitions. For some reason, this is loading slow. Sometimes I find that Googling it and going in from Google goes faster for some reason. So I'll do that. Well, let me share my screen and then we'll get started. So first, let me just pitch something that will point out something that we have. We have an event actually at the Santori Library downtown once a month. It's called Lawyers in the Library. So It's kind of similar to that walk-in help that Remy was just talking about too, where you can come in and speak with an actual lawyer, because as public librarians, it's the same thing, if not even more so, where we're, we don't want to provide you with legal advice, but we want to provide you with resources and information and the knowledge to access those resources. So yeah, if you go into our events page, you can just Google legal or lawyers in the library. Lawyers, honestly, and it should come up right here. So our next one is this week on the 13th from 6 to 7:30. And they have Spanish speakers too. So if you know anybody who speaks just Spanish, they can.
We did have that for a little while here too, but the person who was doing it, like, they just didn't have enough, like, time in their schedule to make it.
Yeah,
So
we're lucky to have it.
hopefully we can get a new person to come to Eola too, but I don't know when. We just have to find somebody who has the availability
Yeah.
and the qualifications.
It's absolutely tough. And that's why we also partner with organizations like you all too, so that we can point people to those organizations to help.
Yeah, and that was part of why I wanted to do this program, because we lost that one avenue of free legal aid, so I was like, let's talk about other avenues of free legal aid.
In terms of like the physical collection, we also have NOLO books at all of our branches. And we have a local history one, which I know you two know about. That's at the downtown branch also, but we actually do keep physical copies of the municipal code in there too. And then, there's a lot of other archival materials in there that could potentially be useful, but we have a local history librarian, Colleen, who works with that collection.
We do have the city of Aurora statutes here.
Awesome. Okay.
We don't have the breadth of stuff that you have, but the city of Aurora does send us a nice fat binder that we have in our reference section upstairs. So if you ever need to reference city of Aurora boss specifically, we do have.
Okay, that's good to know. In terms of West Brent, probably not, but that's okay. They're small. So I also want to just quickly show you all our community resources page too. This has just resources in the community for all sorts of topics, but you can click on legal here or just scroll down and that'll show you all the legal resources that we have listed. That does include DuPage County Law Library. We have Kane County Law Library's website on here too. And then Remy also mentioned Prairie State Legal Services, so we link to them. And then another great resource that I like is the American Immigration Lawyers Search. So if you're actually looking for an immigration lawyer, you can come in here and do a search. But otherwise, yeah, feel free to check out this page. There's some great resources here in general, so I always like to point it out. And then let's go over, if you go to our databases page, that's under Research and Learn. That'll show you the Gale legal reference that I was talking about. So again, I think that there is maybe not, it's under G, so it's all alphabetized. We'll just scroll down, Gale legal forms right here. If you're in one of our branches, you can just click on this and it'll open up. But if you're home, you'll need just to sign in with your library card number. But otherwise, you can come here and do it. So this has, all sorts of legal forms that you can utilize. And we do subscribe to Illinois legal forms, so you get actual state forms on here too. But unfortunately just Illinois, but that's okay. There's also a really great legal definitions area too. So if you're trying to look something up, you can go here and you can actually do a search, or you can see alphabetized here all the different terms that they got and they define here, like ghostwriting. So yeah, that's going to be useful if you're doing that sort of research. There's also actually articles in here too and helpful topics. So if you are trying to do more research into things like divorce law, you can come in here and do some just basic research so that you have kind of an introductory idea of what you're talking about. Helpful topics too. So if you, again, this for a similar purpose where you're going to come in here and you're going to be able to do some research. But then otherwise, there's the forms themselves. So yeah, they have them categorized here. And then they also have some sample searches and the most popular searches listed right here as well. But yeah, you can come in here and I know they have Spanish forms also. So it's not just forms in English, but Yeah, so for example, we could look at an affidavit, so on that, it'll show all of the sample forms that they have available. And I believe, yeah, so if it has this little star here, that means it's also available in Spanish, but you can just click on the form. And then you can preview it or actually download it and then edit it yourself. You're in Word. Now,
You're gonna need to share that.
oh, really? Okay, here,
It's because Word is a different.
that's wild.
Yeah.
Okay. So do I just, well, I guess I don't need to specific form, but you would just go right here and you would just download it right from here and then edit it, save it. You could save it as a PDF too if you wanted to do it that way. But yeah, another really great resource within this database, Scale Legal Forms, is the attorney directory. So if you're looking for a lawyer, I already pointed out that immigration search tool that we have, but if you're looking for attorneys in other areas of practice, you can come in here and do a search too. And this is honestly really helpful for library staff too, because people come and ask for attorneys in specific fields. So we can come in here and do a search like for small business attorneys, and it'll actually show you lawyers in the area and where their practice is. And you can even click on one too. And go check out their website. So yeah, that's probably one of the most useful tools in here, honestly, to me. It's much better than just going and Googling attorneys, I think. Especially since these are more, can't think of the word, but they're scoped out.
The references. have been checked.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's also tax forms in here too, and not just for Illinois. So, you know, you can come in here and you can print out tax forms from here too, although you can also just come to our library and print you some tax forms. We're happy to do that. And that's, you know, that's free of charge as well. So, but yeah, I think the only other thing is Law Digest was pretty cool. That's just that it has the entire book of the Gale Encyclopedia of American Law. So again, for doing more legal research, this can be a really great resource. And then if you want to know more about it, like how they get these forms, you can go up here and check that out. Check out the FAQ too. But yeah, that is actually it.
So
This result.
the Gale Encyclopedia, is that, like, how is that searchable? Like, does it show it page by page, or can you,
I
do, like,
think it's like,
Wikipedia?
no, yeah, I think it's like you go and you like, you look at like specific terms. So it's like
Okay, so it's like
literally an
each
encyclopedia,
encyclopedia.
right? Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, it'd be cool if you could just download the whole book, but then maybe people will try to print that, so. But yeah, does anybody have any questions about Gale legal forms or anything, you know, library related? You can also find our databases on our business page too, and I do actually list Gale legal reference too. I encourage you to check out this page also. It's under business here, business resources. And that I list all of our research databases for it, because there are business forms in there too. Yes.
Yeah. How often would you say you get people asking you about legal forms in your business related tasks?
Not business related, not often. It's
Not that
usually rental lease applications. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was curious, since you're the business librarian, if you get more business specific, because at the reference desk for us, it's mostly rental
there is
and
a whole-
immigration.
There is a whole legal complex maze that you have to get through if you're a business owner too, which is through the city. So if you see, yeah, business registration. This is the right one, right? I did do Colorado. Okay, we're back. Yeah, but they actually have, I think this is coming up too, unless it's passed. But they often do walk-in sessions at the city where they'll be like, you're trying to start a business. This is how you do it. This is how you register your business with the city. So I can definitely refer you to the city if you're looking to register your business, but less legal forms, more referrals for me. Yeah.
So yeah, as Remy pointed out, we are librarians, we are not lawyers. So we cannot give legal advice. But it is our job to kind of collect all these resources for you, and if you have a legal question, kind of point the compass in the correct direction for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, well, that's, Remy brought up the NOLO books, and it's like, we have plenty of those here, but the more complex, the material aimed more towards attorneys, people who are in law school, things like that. That's not something that a public library would carry, that's more
Right.
for the law library.
And
So,
those old documents too.
We have texts that go back over 100 years because I mean, a lot of those things that are no longer available, you can't search them up online. I have tried. And sometimes people are looking like, I want to see what the law was when I got this ticket back in the 90s. You can't access the statutes from the 90s. Okay, what was the actual, what is it? What did this mean back then? Even
Yeah.
back to like the 50s. So we have stuff dating way back for, if that's anything that ever applies, we have that.
but thank you so much, Remy. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, thank you very much. I always
Yeah.
really appreciate a chance to be able to share the resources that we have available. Because even some of them are news to me in the last couple months. So
Well, that's the thing too, is we're always changing things.
Yeah.
Like Gale legal forms, when did we get that? It was not that long.
January. Yeah.
Yeah, it was not that
it's
long
pretty
ago.
new.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you, Remy. You have a good rest of your evening.
you too. Thank you very much.